Wow. Do you know how many Game of Thrones videos I made during Season 8, during the disaster known as Season 8? When it happened on Episode 3, I made a video here on the channel, and I went off about that episode, and I got a lot of hate. I got a lot of hate that day because I believe I was the first person that put a video up, and then I remember shortly after I saw the video from Doomcock and Nerdrotic, which they actually went live. I didn't know they were live, so they actually went live immediately after. And I think they were live for several hours, and I was like, okay, at least they're on my side, because I'm getting so much criticism for this. And then I saw Mauler go off on it, and I'm like, okay, I got Mauler, I got Doomcock, I got Nerdrotic, I'm good. It was an unbelievable disaster. And then it just kept getting worse and worse. And then the leaks started to come out, and we started to really start to get an idea of how bad this could be. And even seeing those leaks, there's like, my God, could it be this bad? Yeah, it was that bad. Well, anyway, I made a lot of Game of Thrones videos, and I said, after seeing everything play out, I said Lucasfilm has made a horrible decision, and it just shows how bad Kathleen Kennedy is at her job, where she would actually bring these guys on and give them a trilogy. And I said it would be a disaster as we move forward. You're not going to move past the Game of Thrones Season 8 disaster so quickly. This was something that was going to last for a while. At one point in time, Game of Thrones was on track to be potentially the greatest show ever after about the first 3 or 4 seasons. And then we started seeing I'd say a small decline. Hardcore fans started seeing that decline. I didn't. I was still invested when Season 8 began. But Episode 3 is where I was like, nope, I'm out, I'm done, this is a disaster. Well, now we obviously see Benioff and Weiss have quit Lucasfilm, which I believe that both parties are really terrible. I believe Lucasfilm is trash. I believe Kathleen Kennedy as a leader is trash, and I've never shied away from saying that. But I also didn't think that it would be this bad. So now Benioff and Weiss have quit, not fired. And look, Kathleen Kennedy has fired a lot of people. She has not ever been easy with how that's been treated in the media. So I do believe that Benioff and Weiss actually quit. Why they quit? I don't know. Maybe the heat was too much. Maybe Lucasfilm didn't like the reaction to Game of Thrones Season 8. I don't know. It doesn't matter. What it continues to show is that Kathleen Kennedy is an incompetent leader. But now we're starting to see that all of those concerns that Game of Thrones fans had starting to be exposed. Here we have it. Game of Thrones showrunners David Benioff and D.B. Weiss confirmed the worst suspicions of the fan base. Well, I thought we were just toxic. I thought that we were just angry men. I thought we were just being toxic for the sake of being toxic. Oh, you're telling me we actually knew what we were talking about the whole time? It seems like that happens a lot. It seems like we get labeled something pretty often because we have opinions and we're ahead of the curve, and then suddenly when the truth comes out, oh, sorry about that. Or actually, we don't even get the apology. You just spin it to your advantage. Well, let's read up and see what's going on here. After the disastrous final season of Game of Thrones, which left many fans furious at the flat conclusion of an epic story, writers, showrunners David Benioff and D.B. Weiss have been extremely quiet, even going so far as to cancel their scheduled appearance at Comic-Con. At this point, every single scene, character arc, or lack thereof, and poorly planned plot point has been thoroughly dissected and dismissed by disappointed fans, critics, and YouTubers. Blame fell squarely on the shoulders of Benioff and Weiss, with Game of Thrones fans recognizing that the sudden shift in quality was entirely due to the decisions made in the writing room, and were generally mature enough to not blame the actors and crew members. That is absolutely right. Benioff and Weiss are due to tackle Star Wars next, so we should wish them and their future cast or crew good luck. No, they're not. Anyway, but Benioff and Weiss emerged from their public hibernation to attend a panel at the Austin Film Festival and finally answer some questions from fans. The two were brutally honest, essentially admitting that they were never fully qualified for the job in the beginning. What? Oh my goodness gracious. Benioff and Weiss still aren't sure why George R.R. Martin entrusted them. This is absolutely crazy. I know, I heard this article going around, and I haven't seen anybody tackle it yet. People have been tagging me on Twitter, but this is my first time reading this. This is absolutely unbelievable. It seems that the two men aimed for a moonshot and somehow hit their target, suddenly tasked with retelling an immensely complex story without fully understanding it. In fact, Benioff once said themes for the 8th grade books reports are for 8th grade book reports, which tells you all you need to know about his decision of the art of storytelling. If you're wondering why a wildly successful writer is comfortable dismissing themes as childish and unnecessary, it should be noted that Benioff's father is the former head of Goldman Sachs. Dewey, oh wow, I didn't know that. How do I not know this? The two went on to admit that they had absolutely no idea how to work with costume designers, kind of important for a fantasy series, and described their experience making Thrones as an expensive film school. Wow. On some level, I almost admire their candor. They could have come up with excuses and defended their hideous creative choices, but they realized that there was nowhere left to hide. Fans were almost unanimously united in their disappointment, and little of the anger has evaporated in the months since. Like I said this would not go away. I said this would never go away. It was that bad. And what was I told? I was told that I was toxic. I was told that I was upset because of this and that and the other. I was told that, and then I called out Kathleen Kennedy. This just exposes how bad of a decision maker she is, that she hired these people. And guess what? I was right, like I normally am. Oddly enough, the show was at its peak during the early seasons when Benioff and Weiss were still learning how to do their jobs. The two initially downplayed the fantasy elements of the book, a decision that helped ground the universe before dragons started flying through the sky, and wanted to expand the audience to non-fantasy fans. This worked in their favor at the beginning of the show and helped expand into a pop culture juggernaut, but meant that the intricacies of Martin's lore were never explored. The Faceless Men, the Lord of Light, the Night King, all magical elements of the story that were never resolved, despite clearly being vital to the story. Hence, the prince that was promised never showed up. Oh my God. It's how does this happen? Seriously. How did you hire these people, Kathleen Kennedy, for a trilogy? It shows that she does no vetting of anybody she hires. How do you hire these guys for the Knights of the Old Republic? Oh my God. Where am I at? Benioff and Weiss were elevated to success by HBO's polished infrastructure and the architect of George R.R. Martin's books, and the immense talent of every individual that surrounded them, particularly the actors. They were exposed only when they ran out of material and had to finish the story themselves. Amusingly, the two never went online to read the criticisms of the show from fans who clearly understood the books better than they did. Well, Benioff searched online once, but the results upset him, so he never did it again. It seems that Game of Thrones writers' room is a safe space, shielded from criticism and outsider perspective. In a way, it's a relief to finally understand why this show went in such a bizarre direction. There was no one there to tell Benioff and Weiss that their ideas were nonsensical. Sounds a lot like Lucasfilm, if you ask me. And I'm right about Lucasfilm, too. And I've been right about Lucasfilm. The Fandom Menace has been right. The Fandom Menace is always right. We're always ahead of the curve. We don't react to just that one moment. Like, we look at the deeper elements of what's going on. You can react to the momentary success of something, and that's perfectly fine. You can look at the success of Game of Thrones Season 8, and the ratings were through the roof. But it was dying from within. We're always ahead of the curve. Nobody was there to tell them to stop inserting random rape scenes for shock value, or that Euron Greyjoy was dreadful, or that the great house of Westeros finally putting aside their differences and crowning a wheelchair-bound shaman as king was immensely, indescribably stupid. Kevin Smith once said, in Hollywood, you just kind of fail upwards. Back when Kevin Smith had the balls to say those things. I miss those days, and I miss that Kevin Smith, but I will always love Kevin Smith because he gave me Clerks and Clerks 2. I respect Kevin Smith so much, but my God, I can't listen to the man's opinions anymore. I think that's pretty apt description of how Benioff and Weiss created their hit show. This is unbelievable. All right, where am I at? I'm sorry, I got a phone call. I've had to do 2 jump cuts during this video. That's nothing really, so let's see. Thompson described his accidental success as falling down an elevator shaft and landing in a pool full of mermaids. Well, Benioff and Weiss have swam with mermaids. Hopefully, they learned how to keep their heads above water, because there's another elevator shaft down below at the bottom of the full swamp. Ravenous flesh-eating Star Wars fans. Not anymore. Not anymore. So this article must have broke. So I guess the day after. Wow. See now, this is Jack Posobiec. Con men and liars who deserve what they got. Game of Thrones showrunners Benioff and Weiss admit they weren't qualified to do the series, hated fantasy, and didn't understand the plot of characters, and often showed up to work drunk. Where's the part where it says they showed up drunk? Is what I want to know. Did I skip over that, or was that maybe in these tweets? Get this garbage off of my screen. I mean, I saw Posobiec said that, but I was waiting to read it here in the article. But I don't see where they actually said they showed up to work drunk. I don't see it. If I'm missing it, let me know. But I don't see it. Nope. Nope. Yeah, I don't see that part. But anyway, the point is, like I said in the beginning of this video, Phantom Menace was right. Phantom Menace was always going to be right. We're always ahead of the curve. You know, what we are looking for is for people to be qualified for their jobs, for people to understand the characters that they're involved with, and to respect the fans. And in this case, I can't accuse Game of Thrones for pushing identity politics into the show. But I can accuse these 2 guys of being completely incompetent. And I said as soon as the Game of Thrones Season 8 happened that this was going to be a disaster for Lucasfilm. I was right. It is a disaster for Lucasfilm. And Kathleen Kennedy doesn't know what she's doing. And these guys clearly don't know what they're doing. They really elevated themselves when they had George R.R. Martin's story to work within. And Game of Thrones fans that were calling this out well before myself were right on. They were seeing it. They were into the lore. I wasn't. But once episode 3 of season 8 happened, it was all over with. So what a complete and total disaster on every single possible level. We were right. The fans were right. We were always right. And we're going to enjoy continuing to make sure you know that we're usually ahead of the curve. Have a great day. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and we will talk to you later. Hey everyone, it's Jeremy from geeksandgamers.com, and if you're a fan of Geeks and Gamers, please go to our website, visit our merchandise store. We have t-shirts, hoodies, hats, beanies, tank tops, and in the very near future, we're going to have many more products for you to choose from. So thank you for the support. We appreciate it. You guys have a great day, and we will talk to you later.